The word allegory means a story that symbolizes an abstract meaning. Children's fables are often allegories, with animals like foxes, mice, and turtles symbolizing human traits like cleverness, wisdom, or patience. I enjoyed the book, but I didn't realize it was supposed to be a political allegory about the dangers of war. Allegory is a useful way to tell a complex story using simple characters and situations. Allegory, a story symbolizing an abstract meaning. The word ascetic means self-denying, simple or without luxury of any kind, strict. Craig's parents led a very ascetic household, which meant that he enjoyed very few luxuries as a child. Monks are known for their ascetic lifestyles. I've always found the desert to be a place that encourages a more ascetic outlook on life. Ascetic, self-denying, simple, strict. The word aseptic means germ-free. It can also mean lacking in emotion or warmth. After my mother cleans the bathroom, you can be sure it's aseptic. A surgeon needs aseptic instruments so the patient does not get an infection. The design of that house was very boring and aseptic, so we didn't even consider buying it. Aseptic, germ-free. The word adept means highly skilled or experienced in a particular area. Proficient. My son is quite adept at solving difficult math problems, and he has won many math quizzes due to his natural ability. He is remarkably adept at algebra, where most kids have to struggle. My sister, on the other hand, is particularly adept at making pies, and has won several blue ribbons at county fairs. Adept, skilled, proficient.
Ambience. The word ambience means the atmosphere or feeling of a place. After several weeks of rainy weather, it was nice to get out to the park, have a picnic, and enjoy the pleasant ambience. The mood and atmosphere that day were very relaxing and peaceful. Sure, you can find a nice ambience in a good restaurant, but the sunny park was the perfect place to spend a few hours that day. Ambience, atmosphere or feeling of a place.
The word asylum means a place that offers safety, a hospital or sanctuary. Bethlehem Hospital was originally intended as an asylum for the poor and homeless people of the city who were suffering from any illness, hence the name House of Bread. But later on, it began to be used as an asylum exclusively for lunatics and the criminally insane, and its name was shortened to Bedlam, meaning house of confusion. Asylum, a place for refuge.
Application. The word application means the act of applying or the act of putting something on. With the application of one more coat of paint, the project was nearly finished. Phil began by putting a single coat of white paint over the entire wall, and he followed up by applying several long stripes of black paint. His kid brother really loved zebras, and had asked him to make a wall that looked like a zebra's coat. Phil was pretty talented at this sort of thing, and he just sent in his application to go to school to learn interior design. Painting his brother's room was a good application of those skills. Application, the act of putting something on.
The word alimony means payment made to a former spouse to help with living expenses. When Steve's parents divorced, they agreed that his father would pay $300 a month in alimony. Lenny was a deadbeat who never paid alimony to his former wife, even though she had 2 small children to raise. Their divorce was quick and simple, and they even decided not to worry about alimony. Alimony, regular payments made to an ex-spouse.
The word anomalous means to be out of the ordinary or unusual. After Jim arrived at the hospital, out of breath and complaining of chest pain, the doctor tested his heart and found an anomalous heartbeat. Instead of finding a smooth rhythm to the heart's tempo, the test showed an irregular pattern. The doctor decided to keep Jim in the hospital overnight to continue monitoring his heart for any further irregularities. He hoped that the anomalous heartbeat was just a temporary problem. Anomalous, irregular, abnormal, or unusual.
Agenda. The word agenda means a plan, list of things to be done, or something one hopes to accomplish. Mary's agenda was to have the house all set and ready before the guests started arriving for the party. The only thing on my agenda today is to mow the lawn. Steve was always very good at sticking to the agenda and not getting off track. As it turned out, my agenda was far too crowded, and I didn't finish everything I wanted to. Agenda, a plan, list of things to be done.
The word artifice means a trick, a deception, or a clever move. By dressing up as a deer, Bob thought he had discovered the perfect artifice for hunting. The salesman relied on a lot of artifice to persuade people to buy his cars. Many people avoid politics because they believe it's nothing but artifice and doesn't deal with real problems. Artifice, a trick, something that deceives. The word approbation means an official approval, praise, or commendation. After carefully inspecting each side of beef, the government official gave his approbation to the meat packaging company. His stamp of approval indicated that the company's meat was of high quality and safe to consume. Without approbation from the right officials, many consumers wouldn't consider purchasing the meat for fear that it could be contaminated. The endorsement of the government inspector is necessary to ensure high-quality standards. Approbation, an official approval.
Affinity. The word affinity means a family relationship that is not by blood but by marriage or a natural attraction or similarity to someone or something. Direct affinity is the relationship between a husband and his wife. Natural affinity between a male and a female swan is almost a universal symbol of love. In some cultures, it's common to describe a loving couple as a pair of swans. It's hard to say what brings couples together, but some people just have an affinity for each other and seem to fit naturally with each other. The same is true for jobs that people do or hobbies they might enjoy. Everyone has an affinity for something, but it takes time to figure out what you like to do in life. Affinity. Attraction, relationship.
The word abrasive means something that is rough like sandpaper, or something causing friction or tension. For people who work with wood, abrasive materials like sandpaper are necessary to smooth the rough surfaces so you don't get splinters. The scratchy material grinds down the wood and makes it feel much nicer to the touch. Another example is, lots of cleaning supplies, including those used on sinks and tubs, contain abrasive chemicals. That is why you should always wear gloves while handling them, because the abrasive cleaner can harm your hands. Another usage is, Jack is an excellent chef, but he has a very abrasive way of speaking and often rubs people the wrong way. In a similar way, going on a talk show can be nerve-wracking, but being a guest on the Oprah show is less abrasive than being on the Jerry Springer show. Abrasive, scratchy, annoying, or unpleasant.
Antiquated. The word antiquated means very old, behind the times, or antique. Ben was poking around in his grandparents' attic when he found an antiquated record player that must have been there for many years. It was so old that it probably would have been difficult to find records that actually could be played on it. The older record players used much thicker discs, which are also antiquated and won't work on newer record players. Some people would argue that record players themselves are antiquated, since very few people use them and instead listen to compact discs or digital music files. Someday those will be antiquated too, and people will enjoy music in some other form. Antiquated, out of date, old.